Okay, we're live. Hold on one second. Ew, my camera looks. Okay. Three, two. Hello, welcome to day 2 of the 2023 Goal Detox. I'm your host, Allison Ziegler, creator and founder of Allison Ziggy, and I'm so excited and genuinely happy to be here. Welcome to day 2. Okay, before we do anything, absolutely anything, number one, get your blanket skirt, get your water, get your tea, get comfortable. We're going to be here for a bit. Today's on gratitude, and I set the intention that this was not just going to be a laundry list of how to write gratitude lists and just the same old content that you hear over and over again when it comes to gratitude. This is actually going to be different. So I invite you to go ahead. My ear is popping. Let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath in. Release. I invite you to put a hand on your belly, hand on your chest, get your cat, and come in and center into this space. And I invite you, before we even get started today, conjure up in your mind what you feel grateful for in this very moment. It can be as simple as your breath. It can be the alarm that woke you up this morning. It can be where you woke up. It can be who you woke up with, a cat. It can be what you're wearing. We can have gratitude for everything around us. We can have gratitude for every situation. And today, I'm going to expand your possibilities when it comes to thinking about what you feel grateful for. And I'm going to challenge you for how you can feel grateful for the things that don't seem to be going your way. Like your cat dive bombing your live stream, putting himself front and center. Okay. Welcome to day 2. So it is hilarious. My intention for day 2, I want to just pull up and write what I wrote down in terms of gratitude. And I just said, I want this to be different and unlike all of the other posts and content around gratitude. And I want it to be about, so typically when you hear about gratitude, it's talking about the way that being grateful for things amplifies what you have in your life. It amplifies your blessings. It's the ultimate magnetizer to drawing forth your desires. And that's all great. And I'm not here today to teach you how to write a gratitude list. So I wanted to actually shift this message and talk instead about being grateful for the things that are bad and like quote unquote bad. And I say that in air quotes because everything that you experience is subjective, and the only true meaning behind something is the meaning that you give to it. Okay. And so in getting ready for this live stream today, I set an alarm this morning and I was supposed to wake up at 7. I went to bed at 11. I was like, I'm going to wake up at 7. I woke up a few minutes before my alarm and I was like, ooh, I hope I still have time to sleep. I go and I check my alarm. It's 8:22. My alarm, for whatever reason with the new iPhone, it's silent when you check the new alarm. It is the most annoying thing that has ever happened to me, is the fact that I have an unreliable alarm. Okay? So I already wake up and I'm already on the wrong side of the bed. I wake up, I'm on the wrong side of the bed. I'm just ugh, this is going to be annoying. I already feel like I started the day with a failure. Okay? And so then I started the day with a failure and I'm like, well, screw it. I already started with the day with a failure. I'm just going to scroll on TikTok. So I was just scrolling and I was just already just in the worst mood today. I go and I start journaling, and then I can't even tell you what I was doing. I went to go get ready for this live stream, and then I was looking for my earrings. I couldn't find my earrings, and now I'm like, are they lost? And so it is so funny how you get exactly what you're looking for, where I was really wanting to hone in on this message of being grateful for the things that aren't so obvious. The grateful for the situations specifically from this last year where you're just what the F was that? Why did that have to happen? Why is this? And granted, asking why questions will never really elicit good answers. If you're finding yourself asking why did this happen? Why does this keep happening to me? Why? You're never going to get a good answer to that question. And so somebody said this to me once where they're like, why is a management question? And I don't know why it made sense, but it did. It's kind of the quality of the questions that you're asking is going to elicit the answers that you're getting. And So when you're asking why questions, you're never going to get a good answer. So I want to shift instead the perspective to kind of thinking about what now. Like this happened, so what are you going to do about it? Like what are you going to do in the midst of accepting that this is your reality? And that's ultimately the entire premise of this challenge and what we're going through these 5 days, and where I'm trying to shift your energy in terms of where we're going in 2024 is kind of, this is where you're at right now. What are you going to do about it next? Not like, why is this happening? Like, why do you feel this way? Like that's not a relevant piece of information in terms of where you're looking to go. And so it's really just about becoming very acquainted and very grounded into where you are at in this present moment. Okay. And so I started to make a list, and I started to look at things in 2023 specifically that didn't go my way, and how I could have gratitude for these situations. And this is going to be your assignment today, is to kind of make a list of all of the things that you thought you wanted that didn't work out, and determine how this was ultimately serving you. And so yesterday I talked about my experience in terms of getting fired, and I was like, that obviously served me in terms of I was able to pursue what I wanted to do in my career and my business. So that was very obvious. And I started to think about what else had happened this year that didn't feel good in the moment. And I started to think about all of the goals that I've set for myself that hadn't manifested. And in terms of the goals that I set for myself, part of it was that all of the goals that I was setting for myself before I left my business were as a means to be able to make that bridge happen. But I'm just looking further in terms of disappointments and thinking about what you want. So I want to talk about Quantum Leap Week for a second. So I went on Quantum Leap Week, and this was a week, it was, let me grab my journal. So when I went on Quantum Leap Week, it was a week that I set this intention where I wanted to approach my life from the perspective of what it would look like when I was full-time in my business. I went into this week and I took a week off work, and I used it specifically to work on my dreams, work on my business, work on what I was doing. So I took this week and I called it Quantum Leap Week. And that entire week, I just focused and imagined what my life would look like when I no longer had my day job. Okay? And so I set my schedule, I went to museums, I did all of these things that I felt like I couldn't do whenever I was still at my full-time job. And I just imagined what my life would look like. And I used this as a means of a catalyst for change, and I used this as a catalyst for growth. Okay, so that was what I was doing. That same week, I had some of the most drastic changes in my life. I had been dating someone, and we were supposed to go on a trip, and then things like communication went haywire. We ended up breaking up that week, and then I got fired the same week. I never talked about the breakup on here because I don't know, it's not really something that I've ever talked about. And at the time, this was like before I went on my trip. And at the time, I mean, I was upset, but I was also really distracted with everything that I had going on in my business. And it was kind of like I was in survival mode. I wasn't in survival mode, but it was like, okay, I had to replace my income. And so I wasn't really consumed. Like dating was kind of like a secondary thing that I was focused on. And when I was on this, so then, you know, him and I were still kind of like talking and stuff. And then I went on my trip and he had never really asked me how long I was leaving. Like, I mean, it was key. Like, this guy's not like acting very interested. And it was like, he did something when we were supposed to go on the trip that just wasn't cool. And so on the trip, I ended up breaking up with this guy because I had gone into the trip and I was like, yeah, I'm being ghosted. And it was like this explanation of like, yeah, I'm being ghosted, whatever. And then I listened to Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And I was listening to that. And it was just talking about deciding what you care about and deciding what you don't care about. And in this moment, I was thinking about what was important to me, and the fact that I was still carrying this energy and still thinking about something meant that it still had control over me. And so in that moment, I was like, I can choose to have this be the way that I view the situation. I can be like, okay, this is ghosting, Or I could view this as like, this doesn't meet my standards and I don't want it in my life and this is actually unacceptable. And so I ended it. And so I invite you to look at the situations in your life that you're experiencing right now and how can you use this to view it from a more empowered perspective? But B, oftentimes the challenges that we're facing are coming into our awareness because we have an opportunity to show up differently than we have in the past. And ultimately, I look at the areas of my life where I've struggled in the past, and those are ultimately the areas where I feel I am the most meant to help other people and where I have the most life experience in overcoming adversity. And so when you look at your life and you look at the disappointments and you look at the way that you wish I got a phone call. Oh, I hope it didn't unlock. Okay, it didn't unlock. You look at the way that things have happened. You look at the experiences you've had. You look at the way that your expectations have not matched the reality. This is ultimately serving you in some way because it's ultimately priming you for what you're meant to do. Had I ended up in that situation, let's say that I didn't get ghosted, let's say that we ended up going on the trip, let's say it was amazing, I probably wouldn't have gone to Europe for the full month. That relationship wasn't ultimately the relationship that I was meant to be in, but it's like, okay, I would have ended up in a mediocre continued situation as opposed to growing, having an opportunity to show up differently, and having these past few months to just unencumbered go after what I want without the outside perspective of someone else's opinion, someone else's, you should be doing this. Because it's whenever you're going through big, massive life changes, your energy is very sensitive. Your energy can just be easily persuaded by the external opinions of others. And so I made a post today just about I shared my honest feedback in terms of not wanting to do anything for the holiday. And this kind of goes along the same thread where it was just, I just didn't want to do anything. I literally just wanted to lay on my couch and not even, I was so hesitant to post that video because I was like, this sounds like I'm depressed. And as someone who's personally struggled from mental health, like anxiety, depression, the whatnot in the past, who like, I'm not feeling that way. Like I'm genuinely feeling very happy and aligned. I mean, I don't even feel the need to justify it. That's why, like, in the caption, I was struggling. I'm like, do I explain that don't worry, I am happy? And I'm like, no, it doesn't even freaking matter. Like, who cares? Well, I mean, in terms of, like, who am I trying to justify this to? Who am I trying to explain, like, don't worry about me, like, I'm completely fine. And so I look at the things that I would have wished for in the past, like wishing I had a family who did big holiday traditions and did all these things. And, we have some things that we do, but that's not really my experience. And just being like this year, that was such a blessing. The last thing on earth I wanted to do was go talk to a bunch of people about what I'm doing. And it's not because I'm not proud of it. It's just because sometimes like you just need to be in your own energy and you just need to marinate and you need to give your ideas and dreams time to happen and things to actually manifest and things to actually come into fruition. So I was just on YouTube. I started to post these challenge videos on YouTube. And I was just looking at some of the videos that I had posted most recently on YouTube, and they were from 2019. And my voice is so different. My stance is so different. The way I show up in the world is so different. The dream and what I'm desiring is ultimately the same, but I have changed so much in pursuit of the things that I'm creating. And so I look at who I was and who I've become in the pursuit. Okay. And I never would have become this person. A, if it were not out of necessity, but B, I would have never come into this place of self love if I didn't need to. Okay. I would have been perfectly content just continuing along the path of the way that things were going. But there was such a better path available to me. There was such a better way. There was so much more that I was destined to become. And I invite you to kind of revel into this and take this into perspective in your own life as well. Like ultimately, if you're not getting the things that you want, it's because you're destined for more. Your setbacks are because you need to aim higher. It's not, okay, like you didn't hit this goal, it's time to hit it lower so that you can go even lower. No, go even higher. Just say, okay, I'm still expecting this to come in. What is the next version of this goal for myself? Okay, so if your goal is financially related, you want to make $10,000 and you're not hitting that, okay, I want to make 20,000. It's like, how do you just keep the faith, keep believing, like obviously the goal that I'm setting is going to happen. How am I going to keep elevating what I'm available for? How am I going to keep increasing what I'm meant to accomplish? How am I going to continue along this path and actually become a better version of myself in the pursuit and in the process? So I invite you to take gratitude again for where you're at today, because where you're at today is absolutely perfect. And even if it's your starting point, even if it's not where you want to be, you will look back and you will feel grateful for this version of yourself who decided to get started. If you're watching this video, I venture to say that there's something about your life you're either working on, working towards, something you're looking to accomplish. There's something about your life that you want to change. There's something about yourself that you want to improve going into this upcoming year. There's like, you're destined for some sort of more. I tend to attract people who are in the midst of major life transitions. So this can be in one area of life, this can be in many areas of life. I think this is because I myself am in the midst of transitions, so naturally, why wouldn't I attract people who are also in the midst of transitions? But lean into this. Let it be messy. Like, you don't have to have all the answers. How boring is it to know everything that's going to happen to you for the rest of your life? There are some people where that is their existence, and it can be so easy to look at like this uncertainty and this chaos and just be consumed by it, or feel like you're doing something wrong, or be like, shouldn't I have outgrown this by this point of time in my life? I mean, I'm 32. Like, how am I still so, like, how is there still so much volatility? Like, how is there still so much like up in the air energy? How is there still so much that could possibly happen? And it's like, let it be there. Be excited by it. Like, that is a gift. I think about all the lifetimes that I've lived in this particular lifetime, and I'm like, what a gift. Like, that is something that so many people don't get to experience, and you get to lean in, and you get to feel happy, and you get to feel grateful, and you get to feel excited. If you look at the versions of yourself before and what they wanted, you will come to a place where you become grateful for what you didn't get. There's a song where it's like, sometimes God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. So whenever you're setting goals and they're not happening, and you want to get frustrated and you want to be like, I don't know what to do, I don't know why this keeps happening, like there must be something wrong with me. No, look at the goal. There's something wrong with the goal, not with you. But B, let it redirect you. Look at the goal, and if it's genuinely not happening, ask for guidance and be like, why is this not happening? What am I not seeing here? How am I being redirected? And like, I don't understand. I need you to put it more clearly for me. And you can communicate with yourself like this and just say, I don't know how to interpret why this is not happening. Okay? And it's as simple as taking that frustration and anger and tweaking it slightly and being like, I'm grateful to be in this position, but I need more guidance. I need more clarity. I need a better understanding of what needs to happen in order for me to attain these goals and to accomplish the things that I'm setting out to do. I've really leaned in a lot this year to prayer, asking for guidance, and just trying to see things through a perspective of understanding that it's serving me in the moment that it's happening. And so it can be really hard and it can be really frustrating, and sometimes it can just feel fruitless. I went to get a massage yesterday, and it was just not a good experience. Like, the pillow smelled like mold, and the massage itself wasn't that great. It started 40 minutes late, and I was just in this experience, and I was just like, this doesn't feel good. This was my Christmas gift to myself, and this massage is like very subpar. And I just claimed, I was like, this is not my Christmas gift. I'm going to redo this. So it was like this moment that just felt bad. I was like, this place wasted my time. I'm going to finally get a massage, something that's been on my list for months. I'm getting this massage, and it just feels not right. And instead of looking at that moment of being like, why do I keep attracting subpar experiences? Why does this keep happening? Which, again, as we mentioned at the beginning of this, why, if you ask why questions, you're never going to get good answers. Look at it as like, what now? I'm grateful that I got that massage yesterday because it's been on my list and it's something I've been needing to do. But now I'm just like, I actually deserve a better experience, and I'm going to give that to myself. I'm going to book another one. I was just like, the second I got out of there, I was like, this is not my Christmas present. And sometimes you don't need to know why things are happening. You don't need to know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't need to know like the greater purpose that this is serving. Sometimes there's not, and sometimes it's just that you need to elevate your standards and you need to elevate what you're looking to experience. You need to raise your vibe, so to speak. I look at, okay, I wanted to get myself a $38 massage off Groupon. That wasn't my whoever. I'm like, you can say it was higher self, or it was just the experience that I attracted. I was just like, this is not it. This is not me celebrating myself. This is not going to cut it. And so part of it is sometimes just being grateful for where you're at, but just being like, but I want more. Like, I expect more. I get to have more. I deserve more. And leaning into just being like, if something's not cutting it in your life, you can decide that you want a different experience and that you want a better experience. And it's not from a place of lack. I'm not sitting here like, oh no, like, why am I only living my life in a place where I get to have these subpar massage experiences? And I'm like, no, I actually, like, I'm grateful that I did it because it's been on my list for so long, but it's time to step up my game and actually have the experience that I've been desiring. And I was just like, the fact that I've been wanting this massage for so long, there was too much energy behind what I was wanting and what I was attracting. There's too much at stake here to be like this one massage that I've given myself for this entire, I've needed a massage for like 6 months. I get one massage and then it's subpar, and I'm like, that's not it. It's like, you can continue to pursue things. You can always choose again. And I think that's the most powerful part of this. And that's part of, again, my entire intention for being here is just reminding you, like, today gets to be your starting point. Your starting point is whenever you decide that you want it to be. So if you're unsatisfied with any circumstances, have gratitude for the present moment and watch as your circumstances completely shift and completely change. And even appreciate what's not going right, because it is going to, one day, you're going to look back and use this in a way that serves you. You can set that intention that, like, anything that's happening is happening for your good. And you can look back and one day this will be your starting point. This will be a story. This can help other people. It's just an experience. You came here to have an experience. And so we just sometimes attribute so much meaning to things that don't need to mean anything. And once I stopped needing to do that, I just felt so much freedom and power and liberation in my own life. And so I invite you today, let's go ahead and do some closing breaths. You can put a hand on your belly, hand on your heart. Breathe in. And really, really deeply, truly breathe in. You can breathe into your belly. Breathe into your chest. Hold at the top. Release. With every breath, you can make a different decision. If you're thinking things that don't feel good, you can choose to release them. If you have an experience that doesn't feel good, you can choose to leave it in the past. It's okay to feel things. It's okay to not be okay all the time, but it's also okay to not carry that with you unnecessarily. You don't need things to be heavy. It can be easy. It can be light. You can move through the world with ease. And just understand that everything you're experiencing right now isn't somehow serving you. Maybe it's even preparing you. You're going to look back and be so grateful to this version of yourself who, in spite of everything else that was going on, decided to show up every single day anyway, in spite of all of the reasons to give up, in spite of all of the reasons that felt hard, in spite of any signs you might see that would throw you off your path, or any resistance or any thoughts of unworthiness. It's safe to just let those fall away. You can just notice what's going on in your world. Again, breathing. But you don't need to carry anything that doesn't serve you. It's safe to let it go. It's safe to believe in a future that exceeds your past. It's safe to believe that things can continue to get better. It's safe to trust the desires of your heart. And it's safe to use the things in your life that haven't gone your way as lessons and teachings and opportunities for growth. It's safe to live a colorful life. It's safe to make mistakes. It's safe to color outside of the lines. It's safe to express your authentic truth in any way that feels good to you. It's safe to be proud of yourself. And it's safe to know and claim that you are enough regardless of what else is going on in the world, and in spite of any messages you might be receiving from the world that tell you to feel any different sort of way. You don't need to buy in. You don't need to believe it. And so with this next day, I invite you to find gratitude in every moment that consciously comes to mind. I invite you to bring present moment awareness and gratitude into every situation that crosses your path in the next 24 hours. This is your assignment, this is your challenge, to notice the moments of gratitude as they are happening in the next 24 hours. Keep your eyes open and just look for miracles, look for amazing things, and I want you to write down anything that comes up in the next 24 hours that you have to feel grateful for. I'm breathing into this and imagining the long, long list of things that you have to write down. I want you to see yourself at the end of this 24 hours just being in a completely different place. And if it even serves you, I invite you to pre-make a list of 24-hour things, and you can invent it and see how it compares to the things that you actually experience. Just know, you're destined for a beautiful life. You're destined for amazing things. You get to have it, you get to experience it, and you don't need to give any extra weight to the heavy. It's safe to let it go. I invite you now to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, roll your wrists, roll your neck side to side. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will send out an email. Make sure you register for this challenge so that you receive details on what specifically each assignment day is related. Today's assignment is juicy, and it came through when I was meditating. So that's how you know it's powerful. I'm going to be sending this out. I love you so much. I will see you tomorrow for day 3, which is on abundance. I appreciate you. I love you. Let's do the damn thing.